They're tripping. Okay, hold on. Hold on just a second. Can you hear me now? Are we good? Anybody hear me? No? Chat. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Cool. Apparently my headphones were taking a poo poo there on me. I don't know why, but hey, whatever. Nonetheless, welcome to tonight's show. I'm gonna sit here and chat a little bit more about my addictive past, my like I titled this one, religion or spirituality, because a lot of times when you hear people quitting alcohol, one of the main ones is like that comes to mind is like Narcotics Anonymous, where you go to like group meetings and they essentially, you basically get you to lean on God and each other, if you will. But also wanted to answer a few other questions from my things that I wrote down to talk about. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you can hear me. It's awesome. Struggles real out here. I'm tired, I just chugged the whole Red Bull and here I am. Ready to go. Um, anyway, somebody was asking me why I look so tired last week in my one of the comments or messages, and I'm like, look, man, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day, and like I usually go to bed at like 7 o'clock. So this is getting late for me. You know what I mean? Like, the struggle be real out here. But let's see, what are we getting? What messages? Bear with me, folks. So most, oh my god, this month I got time for this. Anyway, so I wanted to, yeah, I basically get up at ass crack of dawn every day. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today, again, religion and spirituality. I'm something that has helped me quite a bit. I would consider, I don't like to use the term spiritual, but I would consider myself more of a spiritual person than a religious person. Only, and really the difference to me is closing yourself off in a box, if you will. Religion keeps you here and keeps your mind grounded to where like you have to believe what these people believe, and asking questions outside of that is really not allowed. You know what I mean? But is that messaging on my here? No, it's on the other thing. Anyway, so one of the biggest let's see, specific types. So what specific types of treatment or support systems that I find most helpful? I think I actually talked about this one last time. I wanted to say, have I experienced any relapses when it comes to addiction and recovery? And this one's a big one. Honestly, it's hard to say. Like, honestly, when I was on the journey to quit, I did relapse a couple times. But as far as like after the moment that I decided I was never going to go back, no, I haven't. I've never gone back to, you know, taking meth or taking heroin or anything like that. But you know, I have like, I guess, taken an Adderall here or there, but like since I quit, that's not been something that I've done. And I'm literally prescribed Adderall, but it's been years now. Anyway, so as far as like relapsing, like my biggest problem, honestly, I'll be honest, was getting off meth. Like that took the longest out of all of them, because you can pretty much function amongst humanity for the most part when you're taking that crap, and that's the problem. Is a lot, I mean, you really can't, but you like to think you can. um but that was that's the honest to god truth. Is, relapse is one of those things that happens to everybody, and spirituality or religion can give you strength to overcome that stuff. um for me, like once I started, finding addictions in books. That's what I started to try to get addicted to, is alternative spiritual views. Like I found, the Power of Your Subconscious Mind book and was obsessed with that. I talked about that in my last video, and really started to learn that, like, what was maybe causing the problems and causing me to go to seek out these addictions. And this is a really still debated subject, even in the fields of like, modern psychology. Like nobody truly knows. where what is causing it. You want some people will call it a disease. Like I have a disease that makes me go and do these things. And this is one of those things. There was actually Matthew Perry. I was watching a video on, and it fascinated me because it's the same view that I have. Like everybody wants it to be a this way or this way argument, and the fact is, it's not. It's not a simple thing. So the way I look at it, and the way Matthew Perry looked at it when I was watching this video, is that up until I take that first drink, the choice is mine. I am the one calling the shots. I'm the one that's choosing not to take that first drink. But after that, then something else takes over. And that is the truth. Nothing's ever hit me harder than that, because what you're doing is essentially suppressing your conscious thinking mind when you take in this drug or take in the alcohol, and it's allowing your involuntary, your unconscious part of your mind to take over, and you start acting on impulse, and you have very little control over that, if any at all. And that's the trick, is up until you take that drug or take that first drink, you're the one in control. And to think otherwise is silly, but that's the thing that people need to understand. And that's one of the things I wanted to share, because that's fascinating to me. Like I've never heard it phrased that way, and I think it's beautiful myself. But let's see who's messaging me here.
That's dark and unnecessary.
Oh God. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't think it was going to go over. Um, but yeah, and up until you take that first drink, then the choice is yours, and that's honestly, it ties into that power of your subconscious mind book, because the book is teaching you how to reprogram your mind and get off these bad habits. Because a lot of times, like people who are impulsive, so if you've suffered lots of trauma in your life, you'll end up going through your day and you'll have something that triggers you, and that trigger, you want to suppress it in any way that you possibly can. Whether it be with food. People can be addicted to anything, especially if you've been through trauma and you find yourself stress eating. That's an addiction. That's the same thing. It's acting on the same receptors. If you get go hop on the video games when you're so stressed and you play 20 hours of video games straight, same thing. It's acting on the same receptors. Like it's no different. So calling somebody an addict or anything like that when you're not so fixed yourself is stupid. Some addictions are just worse than others, and there's so much stigma in that community that, like, shit, I'm risking a lot just sitting here talking about it, because you never know. Like people get up in arms, they report you to people at your work and all this kinds of crap, because you have a past, right? Like the fact is, there's a lot of stigma, and as a society, we could actually learn a lot, by talking to people who have been struggling with addiction, and understand that yes, I it does function like a disease, but I also look at that sometimes as a, like, I'm not going to tell you that I have a fucking disease. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have no control and that I have a disease, because that's stupid. Like I am the one in control, and to think anything else is silly. Again, up until you take that first drink, up until I go, you know, decide to go down the road and get drugs, or from my neighbors right across the street, like that's the thing. You know what I mean? It's it's anywhere accessible. The choice lies with you. The choice is when you have that bad day, that you don't reach for the booze the first thing you do, or you don't go and sleep with random people, for example, to fill that hole that was made in your heart. There's all kinds of things that you can use as an example that people are addicted to. The lesser known topics. There's people I know that are sexual addicts. There's people that I know that addicted to video games, addicted to crack, addicted to freaking meth. Just people, all kinds of crap, man. Like, it's all just different things to fill holes that were made by some traumatic experience. And the only way that you're ever going to get out and be different is to heal the trauma, the hole that was made from whenever it was made. I'll use the example of like sexual assault, for example. Like, this is a pretty staggering thing, but I realized something, and this is, it's it's crazy to say, but just about every single female friend that I have, every single female coworker that I know has been the victim of some kind of sexual assault. And that is messed up. That's beyond messed up. And these numbers, like I think that a lot of people just don't talk about it. People just tend to tell me things. People come to me advice for advice. People come and talk to me about stuff. I guess maybe I have one of those faces or something, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, because people come and talk to me and they always say, "Hey, why don't you get on and like talk to people about shit?" Because I don't like talking to people, man. I got social anxiety disorder. This shit sucks. Like, give me an idea how much it takes me to sit here and do this, but yeah, like it's crazy how many people have come and told me that. And what happens when you're the victim of a sexual assault is, large percentage of the time you become a sex addict. And this is the case, and what happens when you do that? You end up, cheating on your partner or doing this or that, sleeping with many people all over the place and having zero self-respect. And that's, just another form of addiction. And it's not one that a lot of people talk about. It's taboo, oh, it's not a real thing. It is. And a lot of people are addicted to that. But um I think that leaning on something like religion or spirituality can truly help with that. For me, I'm more on the spiritual side, but I'm not it's not shooting down anybody who wants to believe. I carry the Bible with me at all times. I actually got this from my grandma, and I've had it since then. Since she passed a long time ago, and it's one of my most prized possessions. Um, I'm a firm believer in God. I just don't follow any religion. I don't go to church on Sunday. I don't. I can talk to you about it, but like I'm more interested in books like The Law of One. I've made a couple of videos on it now using this AI. It's been pretty fun. But the reason, that I'm even mentioning this stuff is, again, because I think that a lot of people who are lost, need something like this to give them strength to get through the day. And I definitely would suggest to do that. But give me a second. Let me drink some tea here. I'm dying. I just realized my cup. Oh, get flack for that one later. Let's see. Man, I wouldn't. I'm not expecting people to be watching. Usually, I just be doing this. By the way, I am doing this live in case anybody didn't know. So, like, I'm not doing any. It's not recorded. So when I mess up or struggle, I'm messing up and struggling anyway. So one of the questions that I have here would be, what are some things that you're passionate now that you're in recovery? Um, One of the things, again, that I'm definitely passionate about ancient civilizations. I'm obsessed with ancient civilizations, actually. I'm obsessed with the book series, The Law of One. Like, I could not talk about it more. You know what I mean? Like, there's just not a lot of people that you can sit and talk to about spiritual subjects, about alternative like spiritual things, because people don't want to hear it. You're either, my friends are either ingrained in religious dogma, like they don't want to hear anything outside of it, or they are atheists. And my atheist friends are like, yeah, I don't believe in anything, but even, I'm going to use I would say my atheist friend, we'll call him E. Even he says that when I'm talking about the Law of One stuff, he's like, man, that's something I can get behind, because it's not so much a spiritual ideal. A way of explaining the universe in a way that I've never heard before. It's essentially stating that everything in this universe is actually one. So all of us are literally just a fraction or fractal of the infinite consciousness. So God, like the Big Bang, if you will, exploded out in all different directions, but it's not that God created the universe, it's that God is the universe itself, and that all of us are literally the same being. And that's, I don't know, to me it struck with me. But that's not for you, it's not for you. When I've listened to this book, it's given me like, I don't know, it explains the universe and physics and everything in a way that if it's made up, if it's wrong, it is the most well put together ruse that I've ever seen in my or read about or heard about in my life. That's all I got to say. Like there's people that have, put the physics from it to the test. There's like, Buddhists that have talked about it. They said this is like a solid book. And it's apparently, channeled from an extraterrestrial source, if you will, a higher dimensional being. And it's really no different from how the Bible and all, like the book of Enoch, for example, is said to be, dream messages, if you will. The Bible is somebody communicated with God in some way and wrote down what they heard, you know what I mean, or saw. Maybe not the Bible, but different other religious books. But to me, that's no different than somebody communicating with a higher dimensional being. That sounds very similar, you know what I mean? But this is not something that is going to keep you trapped in a box. You're not, it's not forcing you to be anything. It's not forcing you to do anything. The truth is that anything that is telling you you can or can't do something is a violation of free will. If you have the free will to do anything, then you cannot be told not to do something because that is violating your free will. That, it's one of those conundrums. Well, now I've gone off on a tangent, but I love it. Let's see. Let's read another question. What advice would you give someone who wants to help a loved one struggling with addiction? Um, this one's a tough one because, like, you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. That's the problem. So, like, as many of my family members that wanted to help me get out of that world, I had to be the one that made the choice. And, all you can really do is make sure that you have an open door and be there when that person does reach out. And, you gotta be patient with them because it's a tough journey. Like not a lot of people make it out. Like you can show them that you're there, obviously not turning your back on somebody, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously there's limits, you gotta know your boundaries, but like I would say, being there for them when they need them, but obviously maybe not enabling them. You shouldn't be, letting your brother stay in your house for 37 years on your couch while he continues to do drugs. Anyway, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Call my uncle out right now. I'll call it like it is. Anyway, I hope he's watching too. You know what I mean? I hope that guy gets his life together. But in any case, there's been a lot of different drugs and alcohol and everything in my family. My dad's an alcoholic. That's one of the toughest things I deal with now. Like, as a matter of fact, I may as well even talk about that because like that's one of the things that, if I'm being honest, like it sucks because like imagine living down the road from your family and never seeing your grandkids. Imagine that. You know what I mean? To me, that is not something I can ever do. And that's where me and this person differ. Like, that is not the person that I will ever allow myself to be. And the fact that I was, down the path of drugs for a minute and not doing the things that I should be sickens me inside to the point where it's like, that is like motivation times 100. Like, I'm to the point in my brain where, like, I would rather die than go back to doing drugs. Without a doubt, I would choose death than doing that. And there's just no there's no other way to say it, man. It sucks. And then having a higher degree of emotional intelligence means that I also feel bad for this motherfucker too. Excuse my language, but I curse like a sailor all the time, so deal with it. That's the thing. Is like I feel bad for this person, for my dad. Let's just call it like it is. But and how can you help somebody like that? You know what I mean? You can't help somebody that's stuck, doesn't want your help, no matter what you say. So again, all you can do is, hey, be there for him. Hey, if this dude called me right now and said, hey, I want to get clean, I want to get my life together, I would help him do that. It's as simple as that. But what alcohol allows you to do, unfortunately, is it allows you to stay trapped in your memories. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like that is one of the worst possible drugs in my opinion because it keeps you trapped. Yes, I'm going to get flack for that cuz people really defend the alcohol. And some people can handle it. Some people can drink on the weekends. Some people can do that. But for a true alcoholic like myself and like my dad, it keeps you trapped in a memory. And like, I haven't talked to him in forever, but I know that if I were to call him, he's going to tell me the same exact crap. He's going to talk about, how good his bike is running. He's going to talk about, that, oh, I'm going to be going back to work soon, just the same nonsense because he's just drunk all the time. And like something that, you know, I would love to tell him is that, if he were to have gotten clean and fixed this stuff, he could probably have everything back that he wanted. But the truth is that maybe it's not in him. Maybe he was hurt when he was a kid and it sucks. But anyway, um, getting texts. Houston, we have a problem. What's going on? Men's trauma that was never dealt with and the stigma. Sorry. I didn't realize you were commenting. My bad, bro. I had it on the background. When it comes to men's trauma they never had to deal with, that's 100%. Like immense trauma and stigma throughout our childhood about freaking dealing with mental health. Oh my God. The most ignorant text. I have to poop and I'm a home pooper. Bro, I just, that burned my whole brain up. My liver. All right. Yeah, I'm about, man, all right. This has flown by. But I do agree with that. And wasn't really intending to go that direction, but here we are. This is a big focal point, and honestly, it's something that affects my brain. It's something that I think about from time to time. And what's ironic is when I was living in Missouri, I was going to a Bible. I was seeing the pastor every week for counseling, and he told me one time. This is before I had any idea on the mind. He said that because I was telling him that I know exactly what I don't want to be. I don't want to be like my dad. And he told me that if I focused all my attention on what I don't want to be, that is exactly what I was going to become. And it never made any sense. And sure enough, that is actually what I ended up becoming for a short period of time. And now that I learned more about, like, again, the subconscious mind is, again, is whatever you focus all your attention on, whether it's negative or positive, that is what you will become in your mind. And that's the truth. So like now, whenever I'm, doing, I don't entertain bad thoughts. I don't let bad thoughts seep in my mind and control me. Like I immediately replace them with something positive. And I've unraveled a lot of bad, patterns in my life, to be honest, just by doing that. As soon as you get something bad going on, you replace it with something positive. And it takes a lot of practice, but in any case, anyway, about out of time. My kids are having a meltdown in the room, but I appreciate you for watching. There was quite a few people there for a minute. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna probably continue doing this every week because I'm gonna call this therapy hour, therapy half hour here. Um, Again, in the case of religion versus spirituality, I'm gonna say spirituality, 100%. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for watching. Have a great day.